Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 FM. I'm Paul Kretschmer. On today's broadcast, excerpts from a Middletown Common Council meeting in the month of September, where Middletown Mayor Ben Forsheim described to the Common Council the work that's being done currently on the Aragoni Bridge and the approaches to it in Middletown.
Next item is a report from me on the Aragoni Bridge project, which I will try to keep brief. Anybody who has been downtown lately knows that the project has unfortunately entered its most disruptive phase on the Middletown side. The different intersections where they're working have been pretty torn up, which I know has made it difficult for pedestrians and for traffic getting through. So that is a project that I know that they're trying to complete as quickly as possible. It has created a few hiccups that fortunately we have a great Aragoni Bridge project committee that is chaired by, I think I've said before to this group, our fire chief Rob Cronenberger, as well as the Portland fire chief on the other side of the bridge. And in partnership with the chief and our police department and the Chamber of Commerce, who has been sort of leading the process for this, we have been able to make sure that as issues come up, we can make DOT and their contractors aware of them. One of the biggest challenges, as people who have been following this project know, is that it's a DOT-led project. They have contracted it out to Mohawk, Mohawk Northeastern, Mohawk, New England, which is a pretty active construction contractor in our region, and they in turn have contracted different elements of the project out to subcontractors. In some cases, the same elements of the project are going to be worked on by different subcontractors on successive days. So you might have one group working at the corner of Grand and Liberty or Main and Liberty on Monday, and then have a different crew doing the same project the next day at the same location. And that has been challenging because as we try to make sure that we're making that work as undisruptive as possible, it is tough to make sure that is being enforced consistently by the contractor day in and day out. But that being said, we are reporting things as they come up. DOT has been responsive, and it's just been a matter of making sure that the message gets through to the right people on the ground. And we're hopeful that the bulk of that work will be over in October, and there won't be too many more issues in town on Main Street and in the North End that are causing traffic disruptions or disrupting access to businesses. I will also say that we've gotten great partnership from a lot of the businesses downtown, from Washington all the way down to Eli Cannons, who have been vocal but totally understanding and flexible and partnership oriented in their feedback. So as things come up, they are letting us know in the city. They are letting the contractor know when it's appropriate to be in touch with the contractor, and so we're appreciative of that. And looking forward for this phase of the project to be over. We are continuing to have our monthly meetings, and I will continue to provide updates with all of the group that's involved. When I say that we're having monthly meetings, that's the committee that the Chamber has put together. So the one that is chaired by Chief Cronenberger and Chief Shea in Portland. So we have at that meeting, represented at that meeting, we have people from the Department of Transportation, we have people from Mohawk, we have the Chamber, we have the downtown business community, who are able to ask and get answered their questions. And what I've noticed about those meetings is that fortunately, what started out on the front end as sort of not airings of grievances quite, but the venue in which people felt like they needed to go to get answers to their questions. And that's because people are communicating in real time, which is really important. And I'm glad to see that that's happening. And so the meetings have been mostly procedural updates and scheduling updates and things of that nature. So we're going to try to get through that as quickly as we can. The bridge work itself has been proceeding relatively unimpeded. Fortunately, the decline of traffic has made it possible for them to speed up the work on the bridge a little bit. But that has been continuing smoothly, and will less of an impact on our economy, certainly. And so we're glad to see that moving along as it has been. So I'll wrap up there, and happy to take any questions that folks have.
Your Honor, this is Councilman McKeown, and I have two specific questions that I've never heard the answer to, and maybe you can get it, or maybe you have them. One is the if you were heading north on Main Street, a left turn into Kings Avenue. I see they're putting curbing in there, and I'm just curious as to if they've made accommodations so that traffic can flow in a normal pattern. Because otherwise, to get into Kings Avenue, you would have to navigate several blocks to make a right turn into it, coming either from Portland or up from Stack Street. Is that correct? So that's one question. The other question, which I've never heard a satisfactory answer to, is particularly the northwest corner of Main and Washington, where it appears that they are lopping off about 4 to 5 feet of the sidewalk and the corner. And despite the fact that they made vociferous arguments about the safety of bump outs, but the original bump out that was supposed to be there is no longer there. And in fact, the curbing is going to be cut significantly. My question is, how does that make it safer for pedestrians? So whether you have those answers or not, I'd love to hear the answers to those eventually. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I don't have a great answer to the first question. It's something that we can certainly ask about. That is, I know that the work that they're doing at Kings Avenue is sort of one of the tweaks that they made after getting feedback in order to try to normalize the access to that. And for those who don't know, that is the way into the parking lot that is between the Community Health Center building and Eli Cannon's, and then the trolley barn where Purgatory Coffee and other businesses are located. So access to that parking area. And so we'll make sure that access is maintained while the construction is happening, since I think that the intent there is to make it a little easier once the construction is over. And yeah, I'm not in a position to really give an expert answer to the second question. I can say that the reason for not having a bump out on that side is because, as I think folks know, the decision that the state made for that section of the road was to put in a right turn lane from Washington Street onto Main Street. Sort of reasoning being that it's a two-lane road, and when people are not occupying the parking stalls closest to the corner, they use those empty parking stalls as sort of a de facto right turn lane, and that the assessment, as I understand it, is that it is safer to have a dedicated lane from a pedestrian standpoint and from a general standpoint than to run the risk of people sort of cutting through a non-designated travel lane. I think that leaves room for more and better accommodations for pedestrians who are going to be at that corner, especially because there are going to be bump outs on the other 3 points at that intersection. And so that is something that we definitely will continue to raise with them and try to work together to find a solution to make sure that pedestrians are protected at that intersection.
On this edition of the WIHS Journal, you heard the mayor of Middletown, Ben Florsheim, present a bridge report update on the Aragoni Bridge repair work and to the approaches to that bridge here in Middletown. It was during the month of September 2020 meeting. For further information, call us at 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretschmer on the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from WIHS.